Alrighty, well, welcome back everyone. So today's a good day because it is new project day. So this is my new car that I've kind of had for like a couple months, but it is time to start working on this thing now that the Jeep is all done. So this is my new to me 96 Impreza L. It's not the RS, but I mean I don't really care because eventually I am planning on doing like either an STI or a WRX swap. But what I did like about it is that it's pretty much 100% bone stock minus the bumper and the hood. Those are the RS bumpers and hoods. I do have the factory bumper if I ever wanted to switch it back, but overall this thing, other than some, some fading paint up top, little dings and dents all over the car, because it does have 220-ish miles, 20k, so it's not too bad. A nice little daily car. So goal for this car is to just have a nice little daily that gets good gas mileage, that's not too expensive, even though I think this was a little bit more up there on the Subarus that I was wanting to pay. But if you know anything about these cars, is that they're actually starting to get really difficult to find, especially in any kind of good condition. So these are usually rusty ship boxes, and I got really lucky with this one that it has zero rust. I mean, it has a little bit of surface rust from scratches because it looks like they drove through a fence, just judging by like the scratches around here and there. But over the interior, minus just missing that guy and the stereo because I took it out for the Jeep. I do have a replacement that I will be installing. Minus that, it's pretty mint in here. Seats aren't ripped. Back seats, got some questionable stains on them, but overall everything's pretty spotless. It will need a new sun visors. They're both broken, so we'll have to get some new ones of those. But quick overall walk around of the car. Eventually we'll be doing the trim delete. Haven't decided whether or not I want to like do a little wide body on it. I did pick up some cheap wheels for it. In the meantime, these are 16s, a little bit better than the 15s because these tires are super old, super mix matched, and the whole car vibrates like crazy on the freeway. So there you see like one of the other little dents, and then the big boy right here. So I think I can probably take this guy out from the inside and get it looking a little bit better. But overall, pretty straight, sharp car. If you ever find these rear quarter panels are just rotted, like you'll just have a giant hole right here. But this one is pretty clean. So there's a better view of the driver's seat, literally like spotless, other than little stains here and there. So we'll have to hit up my boy Alex to come through and give this thing a good detail, make this thing look brand new again. So here's the quick walk around. So now, ugly that we gotta take care on this car. So big thing, fix the stereo I ripped out of it, just because I needed a stereo in a moment. It's got an oil pan leak, and all four shocks are blown. So, and then axle's broken, probably needs a new steering rack, and definitely a new set of tires and an alignment. So that's probably the first things I'm probably going to try and worry about this weekend. I did pick up some coilovers just for the cheap through a buddy of mine. These are just some like Megan Racing coilovers, nothing too fancy. I already have a 5-speed swap for it. That was $180. So this car has actually been one of the cheapest cars I've owned to modify, like crazy amounts. So I got a lot of just like random little stuff. This blue hoses, I'm probably never gonna do the blues hoses, but I like having just spare like radiator hoses and stuff like that. He pretty much gave them to me for free. I got the pedals. That's mainly just in case if I ever have like a radiator hose explode, I have a backup that I can use in the moment, just because I don't know how difficult parts for this car are to get just yet. So it was more of a better be safe than sorry type deal for this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead, get this thing up on all fours, and show you guys just what I'm talking about on all its needs for the suspension and for the engine. Alright, and here we can see a little bit closer look at the suspension. So all four struts are all leaking. You can see all the oil leaked out of it. And then underneath, we'll crawl up underneath here, and we can see we got a pretty bad leak on the oil pan going. So it looks like it might be coming from the bolt. But honestly, kind of like while I'm in here, I will be pulling the steering rack out to replace it, just because it does have, I did feel a little bit of play in it, and it's just covered in oil and gross looking. So I'm just gonna use this chance to just replace it, put a fresh one in there, and hopefully that should tighten up a little bit of the steering feel. But it looks like we will have to be removing the header out of the way to pull that steering rack, pull this little plate, and then we should be able to reach the oil pan pretty easily while that's out as well. So we can knock all of this out all at once. So, sweet, let's get to it. Alrighty, well, with the steering rack out, we can kind of take a better look at where this oil leak is coming from. And I have a sneaking suspicion it might be the rear main seal, just judging by how oily and grimy it is up in there. But again, I don't know if it's just leaking so bad out of the back of the pan that maybe the torque converter and the flex plate are just kicking it up in there. But you can kind of see, it's pretty difficult to see, but you can kind of see it's just grimy all the way up in there, going up the back of the block. So this transmission is coming out. Looks like we're going to be doing a 5-speed swap sooner than later. Alright, well, it's the next day working on this thing, so I have elected to properly fix the issue of the oil leak. After doing a little bit more research, it seems like it is the oil separator plate on the back of the engine. So why they have that there, I don't know, but apparently it's a pretty common issue for the leak, judging from where it's coming from. Now, my current situation is that I tried removing one of the axles. Luckily, it's the bad axle that I ended up breaking. So this is my current situation, is that I have absolutely beaten the absolute dog shit out of this axle. It used to look like this, but now it looks like this. Just from trying to get it to separate from this hub, and it just does not want to come off. I can't get it to come loose. I gave it all the heat last night and even let it soak in some PB Blaster over the night. So I'm gonna go ahead, try and see if hopefully some of that PB Blaster soaked in. It looked like it soaked in around the edges, because I don't remember it being that wet. So hopefully something soaked in there. If not, I'm just gonna have to let it soak probably for like the next week or two. Or just go get like a whole new everything from the junkyard, because yeah, this shit's ridiculous. Alright, well, this escalated very quickly. So I found what my oil leak was. It was this plate. So it was the rear oil separator plate. Apparently it's a very common issue. Luckily the auto parts store had the part. So there you can see the nice new one that's metal. Just did some Permatex sealant around that was oil resistant, so it doesn't have this issue. I'm guessing that was the old issue, because this sealant was very hard and brittle. So I think it just dried out and it was just leaking profusely. So while I'm in here, I did go ahead, toss in a new rear main seal. If anyone is curious for the part number for the cover, there you go. It's not a Subaru one, but it's a plate. I mean, it just seals with silicone. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So next step is I got a lead on the manual transmission harness and ECU, so just waiting for verification from him once he tells me that he for sure has the harness and he is able to sell it to me, I think I am going to go ahead and toss the manual in here, because it's not that much more work. So really all that's left is just my cross member, a heat shield, a drive shaft, and a few little odds and end connectors that are on the transmission, which is I think like 2 connectors in the front and then your little shifter cable, which isn't a whole lot of work. It's maybe like an hour tops, because everything is like a 12 millimeter bolt to get out. So in an hour I could have this transmission out, but I'd like to verify whether or not I can get that harness or not. If not, I might just go and do the whole pin out situation, because it'll be a lot easier where I don't have to pull the dash. But it would be nice to have a nice OEM finish on the car versus having a little bit more of a hacked up job. Alright, so it's a couple days later. It did take a little while to get a few little parts, odds and ends here and there that I was missing. I did have to go get a new flywheel, pilot bearing, throttle bearing, and little stuff like that would just kind of like slow me down, and also order a clutch alignment tool, since I was given a clutch. It's not in the best condition, but I think it'll last hopefully the next year or two until I can get, you know, a proper swap done in this car. But there it is. So we have the 5-speed attached. I still need to remove this sensor from the original automatic transmission, just because on this car it is a manual sensor. So this is how the factory sensor for this manual is. This is an electronic sensor. So essentially the transmission will spin this little guy, create a voltage, and then that voltage will essentially tell you how fast you're going. But this car has a mechanical speedo, so it actually has a direct wire that spins, and using, you know, clever gear ratios in there and in the cluster, it'll be able to actively maintain whatever speed you're going. So that's how, you know, mechanical versus digital or electronic. But yeah, so it was as simple as just bolting this guy in. Just got to be careful because these do kind of fall out. So just like that. So you don't want it to fall inside the transmission. So as long as it's clocked in and snugged up, I think we should be good. Hopefully the cable reaches. If not, I'll just go ahead and order a new cable later on. But for now, we can at least try it out. See if the car will even start. All right, let's get this thing in the car. All right. Hey, welcome back everyone. So the Subaru's not in the garage anymore, so we're actually going to take a break from that thing just because it's just being, you know, pretty annoying right now with some parts, especially with the axle stubs and the hubs being stuck. So I'm just going to wait on some parts to show up. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start on this beautiful 2000 Mustang. So